The Bengals are quietly planning something massive. With the struggles on defense in preseason, this could only be a sign things are going to turn around. We're going to discuss the thoughts of the Bengals and why they feel confident going into the 2025 season. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. Happy to see all you Bengals fans. We are almost in September, which means regular season football is right around the corner. If you want to be up to date with all of the big updates as they come out, smash that subscribe so you'll see all of our videos as they come out, and comment below. How do you feel going into the 2025 season? We'd love to hear from you. All you Bengals fans, let's see if we can get to 3,000 subscribers before week 1. I know we can do it. Well, the big topic of discussion about this team, if they have the hopes of making the playoffs, well beyond, as we have seen with Joe Burrow, we are hoping to get deep into the playoffs, to a Super Bowl. Well, the big question mark is going to be the defense. Whether that is true or not, whether people feel this defense is going to turn it around, they're going to be completely different. Now with Al Golden, that is still going to be a prove it topic. They need to go out on the field and show that they can turn this around, that they can be a solid defense that can get a stop. That was the problem in 2024 for this Bengals team that missed the playoffs. The defense could not get that final stop. And maybe that's unfair. There was other struggles on special teams, even on offense. There was times where they could have won games if they would have made that one more play. But the defense, that's going to be under the microscope this coming season. So if you were to ask the Bengals with this preseason, there was some struggles. The thing to note is against the Commanders, that was on Monday night, the Commanders only needed 7 plays to get 2 touchdowns. 7 plays. That's just unheard of. That was your starting defense. So how are you going to answer that to the fan base, to ones asking, what are you going to do to turn this defense around? Because again, there's high hopes that they are going to make the playoffs. You're just not going to get there with a defense that's giving up 2 touchdowns in 7 plays. I don't care if you have Joe Burrow or any elite quarterback. How do you win games with a defense like that? And again, it's preseason. Nothing to write that this is going to be what we're going to see in regular season. That's what the thought is when it comes to this team. They asked them, what are your thoughts? Well, they didn't seem to be very worried on defense. Despite all the big plays they were giving up, the poor tackling, that is something you're going to hear a lot about is, are they going to improve in those areas, not give up those big plays? It just seemed like it came easy for the Commanders. And so far in this preseason, the defense, it seems like they're just lacking. There's just something missing there. So an interesting comment came from Zac Taylor. This is what his thoughts were. Despite all these struggles, all these big plays they're giving up, did he seem panicked? Did he seem like, oh, this is not, well, let's see what he had to say. This is coming from Zac Taylor. He said, I'll be excited to get through this preseason and play real football and do the things I've seen us do in practice. There's good learning experience for a couple of the guys that were in positions there that we need to improve at and be better at, because you'll see it again at some point in the year. But again, I like the direction our defense is going. I think there's a lot of positivity there. Okay. You do the eye test. This just sounds kind of out there if you're going by Zac Taylor, but you got to trust the process. He might have a point here when it comes to the preseason. You have a lot of players switching in and out of, as much as, again, those big plays from the Commanders, those 7 plays for 2 touchdowns, that was their starting defense. You still have guys switching in and out. They're not going to be playing full games. They're even being told, you're only going to go in for a series or 2. So I get it. I get this, but I do appreciate that he is saying there are still room to improve. He's not just saying this defense is fine, there's nothing to worry about. No, he's acknowledging there's got to be improvement. And certainly from what we're seeing in preseason, they've got to improve it. But it shows that, again, this is preseason. This is not them showing their hand, so to say. And they've done that not just on defense, but on offense. Only until this year have you really seen the starters play in preseason. Most of the time, you'd see backups, guys that might not even be making the team, are playing the majority of the snaps in preseason. It feels like that's kind of the mentality of this coaching staff, is preseason is not the final say. And so far they have proven, outside of those first few games where they have come out slower, they've shown that, yeah, there's no reason to panic altogether. Again, we can go back to last year's defense. That was an example of what we're hoping we aren't seeing being the final product, the final play on the field when games matter. Again, this was preseason, so there's nothing to panic about, but you can't just take their word for it. You can hopefully be encouraged. Hopefully that's true, that this defense is going to improve. With Al Golden now trying to work with these young guys, he has that reputation of being able to build up young guys. And I think that was maybe the worry from last year, is a lot of young guys that were missing tackles. They weren't getting the fundamentals down. And you can make that argument in preseason. The fundamentals don't seem to be there, but at the same time, you got, not a final product on the field. These games don't matter. There's just a lot of, switching out. I can see maybe where their reasoning was. But what did Al Golden say? Because they also talked to him. It's interesting to get different feedback. Zac Taylor isn't worried about it. Well, is Al Golden worried? Well, this is what he had to say. He said, any blame on that goes absolutely on my shoulders, talking about the preseason. That's a decision that we made in conjunction with Zac and just trying to limit anybody's purview in terms of what we're doing. So again, from that standpoint, what we have to do better in every phase of the game is we need to tackle better. We need to take the ball away. We need to be situationally aware. All those little things are really what the standard is in terms of what we're trying to get done in these games, but not necessarily trying to out-scheme somebody. This is probably my favorite of the quotes that were coming from the team, Al Golden specifically. He's taking the blame for it because he was saying they aren't giving the whole playbook, so to say. They're not showing their hand. They were just kind of rolling out the basics on the play. And again, you still need to execute. I don't think you can justify 7 plays, 2 touchdowns, and all that stuff of, well, we just went with the basics. That's not an excuse. But he still says I take the blame for that. I do appreciate he says we need to tackle better. Yes, yes, yes. This team needs to tackle better. They are not going to go anywhere if they cannot tackle. It's the fundamentals of football. You tackle and you stop the offense. I mean, it goes without saying. That's so common sense. If you can't tackle, what are you going to do on defense? Simply put. And this is also a unit, you're talking 11.4 plays per carry on the run side. That's something I want to keep an eye on is, are they going to be able to improve on that run defense? Because we can talk about the passing game. There's been times where it's been sketchy. Not getting the pressure on the quarterback. That's obviously with Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart being a rookie coming in. Injured guys, Joseph Osai, something to keep an eye on, Miles Murphy. They're going to be counting on these guys. They're going to be counting on them. But I'm interested to see what they can do on the run defensive side. And that comes down to tackling. It's both sides of the ball. Passing as well. But a lot of those run plays were just poor tackling. They were also out of position. The fundamentals, again, knowing their assignment. But I do appreciate he's still saying, we're going to get it right. We are not rolling out everything yet. We don't want to show our hand, but we're also going to keep it simple. And that's something I've stressed is keep it simple. Lou Anarumo, I thought he was a terrific defensive coordinator, but he also had some schemes that for young guys, maybe they just don't know the playbook as well. They're not as familiar. That might have been what was messing with them last year. It's hard to say. But they also asked, interestingly, Logan Wilson. This is what he had to say. This is the other quote that kind of jumps out at me. This is what he had to say. We are only running 10 to 15% of what we are truly running. You really just want to work on your technique, your fundamentals, tackling, and turnovers and stuff like that. It's just how the preseason has gone for us. Not making any excuses. We can always play better. But it's not necessarily something I really worry about right now. Great hearing that from Logan Wilson. He's kind of that captain in that linebackers room, especially, but also on defense. He's kind of that leader. So him saying that does put you at ease a little bit. Again, I'm not going to say let's take their word for it. They're going to turn things around. There's a saying that Marvin Lewis used to say all the time. It was, I see better than I hear. And that's the case with this defense. You got to put them under the microscope a little bit. You guys are going to need to really go out there and perform. You're saying all the right things. You're saying all of the encouraging things we want to hear of, hey, let's not freak out. Let's not worry. But come come week 1, let's see it. Let's go. I'm going to be really excited because if you're saying 10 to 15% of the playbook has only really been open in preseason, what's the full rest of the 80% or so that we're going to be seeing here? I'm excited to see it. I'm definitely willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I still am going to keep my reservations that you guys are going to have to go out and perform it, though. This is, all the right things. That's the right mentality and not making excuses. He even said as much. We're not making excuses. We still need to go out there and perform. Great. Let's go. Let's shut down those opposing offenses. Let's get the ball back in Joe Burrow's hand. They talked about let's get the turnovers up. I agree. That's football. You win the turnover battle, you're going to win the majority of games, if not pretty much all your games, if you can turn the ball over. And that's something that was also lacking on this defense last year. So let's go. I'm ready to go, guys. I cannot wait. The regular season is right around the corner, but we want to hear from you guys. What's your excitement level? Are you kind of still reserved about this defense? Do you think they're going to be much improved from 2024, allowing this Bengals team to excel and be one of the top teams we know they can be come playoff time when we get in that playoff race? It's so exciting to think about. We want to hear from you guys. Comment below. And again, if you have not subscribed, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you'll be all up to date when our newest and latest videos drop. So that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Uday.